Okay, YouTube. This is going to be, if I don't sneeze all over the damn place, I've got a bit of a cold. This is going to be a video on Alex Jones and on a number of other issues, not just Alex Jones. But I just want to say after this, I'm not using his stupid site anymore because I can pretty much tell you what's on his website before I even go to his website because it's become all the same shit pretty much every single stinking fucking day, and it's all the same thing. And I'm not even attacking Trump, but okay, he likes Trump. We know that. God forbid he questions anything he does do. Nothing against Trump, but I'm just saying we know he likes the president. He doesn't like gay and transgender people. He's a fucking Christian from Texas. He's gonna let you know that. And just some other dumb shit that no one cares about, in some crap about whatever. And it's the same damn thing every time you go on his website. And I'm tired of hearing it. And then he's going to talk about how he's being censored. And meanwhile, of course, fucking pop-ups. He's going to let you know that he's being censored. And meanwhile, he tries to advocate for and promote the censorship of other people like he always does, don't you know? Same shit over and over. So this will be the last time I use his fucking website for a reference video because I don't really give a shit what the man thinks anymore. And I'm just tired of using his information, and maybe I'll get the information from somewhere else. Maybe I'll just fucking stop making videos for a while until I figure out enough shit to talk about. But I'm not using his site anymore. I'm just sick of seeing it. It's fascist crap. And how the hell did we go from 9/11 was an inside job and shit like that in the Iraq War? How did we go from that to talking about and obsessing over gays and transgender people and pushing religious bullshit and lying to people and trying to mix politics with religion and all the other garbage this guy does? How did we go from one thing to the other? I don't know, and I really don't give a shit. But I'm just done talking. I'm done caring what he thinks. So this will be the end of that. All right, let's see. And again, first let's talk about the gendered snowmen. Or actually, you know what? First, let's talk about Christians in America. The percentage of Christians in America is down substantially. There's not as many Christians. Christianity is essentially on the way out. It's in decline, and and especially among young people, and the generational gap is huge, as they say. And there's a reason for that. It's because we have the internet now. We live in the age of tech. We live in the digital age, and all the information we always needed to know and wanted to know that people like fucking Alex Jones and Fox News and CNN and everybody else and all these fucking fake Democrats and the fucking Republicans kept from us, and the Vatican kept from us, and they used to kill people to keep from knowing. We now know. It's the same reason we don't do circumcision anymore. We don't mutilate our children's genitals anymore, but older generations did and do and still think it's okay. Why? Because, goddamn it, we find out better because we have better access to better sources of information and other people with other opinions, and, people get to say something now. Just like Alex Jones used to complain and still complains because, well, I'm censored on the internet, but then he trashes the very same internet that helped him blow up and get huge. But that has a lot to do with why Christianity is on the decline, and he talks about it's being pushed. The same founding religion that founded our country, that was in the foundation of our country. Actually, no, asshole, that's not true. That is not true. The founding fathers were largely people trying to escape religious persecution. And the same was even true for the Puritans. Now, of course, when the Puritans got here, these same cocksuckers went on to persecute other people and burn people alive and everything else that I'm sure you're okay with. Just like you want to escape religious persecution and this and that and blah, 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 and then trash everyone else, including and especially LGBTQ people. But in actuality, the founding fathers were largely deist and agnostic type people. And they were probably largely have no problem with being called humanist now. Some of them might even be atheists, but they would have no problem with humanism or being labeled or called humanist now because they were humanist and they practiced a form of humanism for that time, and they were liberals. And they came to this country, both those types of people as well as Jews and other groups, to escape religious persecution in Europe and in England. And that's why they came here, and that's why they came here. It had nothing to do with let's found a Christian nation. They already had a Christian fucking nation. They didn't want another one. Now you did have people just the same as you do, and just the same as assholes like that asshole Jordan Peterson does, and I'm sure other Republicans do, and Trump probably does, where they want to use religion and Christianity to control the population. But you have to keep in mind, back then you did not have the modern tech that you have now. You had a rabid wilderness that was largely unsettled, and they needed some religion to help control people. We don't have that anymore. You have tech, you have digital, you live in the digital age. We don't need a brainwashing fucking mythology and groupthink religion to control people or to control the masses. We don't need that anymore. So yeah, Christianity is on the way out, along with your genital mutilation, all the other horse shit that you push. And capitalism, guess what? Hillbilly boy, your capitalist crap and all the other shit, just like the coal mining industry and the oil industry and everything else you probably sell on stock having to do with, you probably got stock involved in. Just like you own 20,000 fucking illegally registered guns you're probably shooting people with. That shit's on the way out too. I'm so sick of these fucking Republicans and this fucking shit. I'm sick of a lot of the Democrats too and the fucking feminists, and I've talked about that. But I've talked about that. But these Republicans are no fucking better, and they're such hypocrites. Then he wants to talk. Then he wants to go on. He wants to talk about. Then he wants to talk about gendered snowmen. Now here's what that gendered snowmen that they have such a problem with said. And I want to keep in mind the guy who wrote this article, and I think it was Paul Joseph Watson himself, because nothing says founding fathers like English. Anyways, he goes on to talk about this person should be fired immediately from the schools. Okay. Let's see where to put this. This is a gender snowman. This is the platform, basically, what the gender snowman is. And this represents the brain. And the brain is pretty much where your gender identity is. And that says pretty much who you are and how you feel. Who you are and how you feel, what you feel like. What do you identify as? What is your identity? And that's what they tell these kids. And that's largely true. And that is what these cocksuckers don't understand, or at least don't pretend to understand, why they persecute gay and transgender people. They don't understand that gender is largely in the mind. And that's what they don't understand about gays and transgenders and drag queens, just so they can hold up books and yell at gay people. And they know all of this, but your brain largely dictates and determines what gender you are, not your fucking dick or your vagina. Not that. Not your penis, not your vagina, not your cunt, whatever you want to call the junk that you got. It ain't what determines who you are, what kind of person you are. It's in your brain. There's some people that are more male, there's some people that are more female, and then you have people that are more gender neutral, and they don't really identify as either one. I'm kind of like that myself. And then you have people that have all kinds of fucking problems going in between, and all types of shit having to do with that. Then it's sexual attraction, or really romantic attraction, or what your sexuality is, and that's who you love and who you are attracted to sexually and romantically. And finally, biological sex, and that is your assigned sex, pretty much. I think they even said assigned sex, or what sex they gave you, regardless of who you are as a person when you're born, because they do not know, and they do use that as a way of determining what a person is. And I don't, on some level, I understand why you have to do that, but I also don't agree with that. And that's part of the problem I have with circumcision. That it's okay to do this to boys. Well, who the hell gets to determine what a boy is, or a girl is, or anyone else is? Different people identify different fucking ways. And then this idiot goes on. These same fucking free speech assholes, by the way, go on. He goes on to say, what did he say? Do I even put it on here? Basically, he says they should be fired immediately. I don't know whose good idea it was to use a gender snowman to teach people I presume to be in elementary school, but they should be fired immediately. Yeah, kind of like to quote, not really quote, but paraphrase something I saw on Star Trek once, or from Star Trek. My job is to educate children, not brainwash them, or something like that. And they were talking to some religious alien group about, I don't think it was the Borg, but it was some group about what you can teach children. And it's my job as an instructor and an educator to educate and instruct my students, not brainwash and indoctrinate them. You know, it's your job to teach your religious horseshit, not mine. And that's a lot of this is more religious crap. But you think of human beings as livestock. We're male, we're female, we're this, we're that. We just go to work and produce and consume. And that's all you care about. That's all you ever did care about. You never did care about the war or any of this. You're a right-wing fucking Nazi. Then there's reports of homeless being implanted that I tried to work with conservatives on. I have tried to do that before, because I do think there is some problem or some trouble with microchipping. And I used to even joke about microchipping before I thought it was a real thing. And why did you ask? Because it was too ridiculous. But even I knew back then that was probably a bad idea, and they would use that to control the population, to control society. And I'm sure they would do that, and they're doing that. But guess what? You're treating your children like livestock. But now they're trying to microchip and track homeless people, homeless men and women, in throughout the cities in the country in America and whatever in America, throughout the cities in America. And it's a problem. But then again, you treat your children like livestock. You circumcise your children. That's pretty much mock castration. You're branding them. You give them a name and a number. You literally number them like cattle. If you look at your social security code, that's pretty much numbering them. You do over vaccinate your children, something John doesn't even talk about before because he never gave a shit about that to begin with. And you do over vaccinate them. And there is an argument or a discussion there to be had about vaccinations and an argument to be heard from anti-vaxxers. And I myself personally am not anti-vaccine or anti-vaccination, but I do think there is an argument about over vaccination of children. And I do think we need to talk about that in America. And when you're pumping in mercury into a child's body and how much mercury are you pumping into their body? And maybe we should discuss that and have a chance to talk about that as a country in America. But no, just like circumcision and genital mutilation, you have to be a bunch of idiots and just label everyone that disagrees with you wrong. So we can't even talk about the fucking subject most of the time. You're such idiots. Because God forbid, maybe you did something wrong and you're not right about everything. But yeah, they're implanting homeless people with fucking microchips now. So you know what? You've chopped out part of their dick. You fucking goddamn numbered your children. You send them to schools. You indoctrinate and brainwash them. You work them like cattle. And you send them off to fight your wars like they're war horses. And you're treating them damn near like a weapon at that point. So you might as well microchip them too, I guess. That's damn one thing you've not yet done. So you're one step away from that anyways. Let's see what else is there on this. And then there's cultural appropriation. I don't know why I put center, but anyways, cultural appropriation centers, but I think I just meant to put cultural appropriation. But there is an issue with cultural appropriation, I think, and I don't mean to speak too freely or candidly on this because I will admit I myself am a white guy. I am largely Native American, but I don't identify as Native American, and I don't have a lot of Native American in me. I probably pretty much look white, and I don't know many Native American people. I didn't grow up around Native American people or Native American tribes. I cannot speak for them or that person. But I will say this: I think there is a difference between mocking them and some of these baseball teams that are mocking them versus calling them warrior or brave. And there is a way of showing respect to them and tribute to Native American people, especially if you yourself are part Native American, as opposed to trashing or dogging them. It's not always the same thing. And there is a difference between that and some smartass who might legitimately be mocking or making fun of them. It's not the same thing. But as far as being a dick about it goes and making fun of Indians, no, I don't support that either. But there is a problem with cultural appropriation where I think people do on some level take things way too seriously, and we take everything way too seriously. And I do think there's a time for a joke and a time for fun. But there are also a lot of racist cocksuckers in America that just want to joke about Indians and they think that they're better than Indians. You have those people out there. And it's the same thing with black people and Asian groups and all kinds of people that think they're better than everyone else. You have a lot of them. And then we're nearing a civil war, and I went on to talk about Christianity, but we're nearing a civil war in America. Gee, I wonder why. You talk about we're leaving Christianity. Could that be the part of the same reason we might be nearing a civil war that I'm sure the left wing is going to completely get blamed for? And it's not like I like a lot of these pseudo liberals, anyways. I don't like a lot of pseudo liberals, anyways. And some of them, and some of these feminists especially, are not good people, and they're crooks and everything else. And they want to yell at you and then start a fight every damn chance they get. But I will say this damn much: that a lot of what they say is true. And it's not always all completely the left wing's fault. Down. Pop-ups. A minute. It's not completely the left wing's fault, and it's not completely the right wing's fault either. But you know, it's just go back. This goes back to, like I said, it goes back to what I said about the Christians. And as I said, I forget what I was going to say earlier, but it's on their way out, just like circumcision is. And he also went on to talk about, and this is like the problem with Christianity and the problem with your civil war, you keep bashing transgender people. And now he wants to talk about some ridiculous issue where there's some transgender people want to take female logos off of menstrual products for trans exclusion. Of course, transgender people don't get menstrual cycles, so that doesn't make any sense. And I agree with them there. But how many transgender people actually want to do that, as opposed to the logical, normal transgender people that just want equal rights and equal treatment that you don't want to give that to? And you're doing every damn thing you can to stop that. And then what happened to Jesus saying, don't judge others and treat other people the way you want to be treated? Let's not talk about that. Let's just go back to the Old Testament and the crazy part of the New Testament where where God burns everyone, because that's the only part of the Bible you care about, and we all know that. You take all the fascist crap out of the Bible and you use that to get what you want. Fucking me. You take all the fascist crap out of the Bible and you use that to get whatever you want, and we all know that, and you have been doing that for damn generations, and you have been doing that going back to the 50s. And again, what would you rather us do? You're afraid of change. It's not got anything to do with Christianity or Jesus or America or patriotism or any of that shit. It damn sure is not about the Constitution, but someone that is scared, naive, bitter little men, just like Obama said, bitter clingers, bitter clinging people clinging to their guns, and you just want to thump a Bible and tell everybody else what to do, and you would rather have us having us live back in the 50s when you had people like Herbert Hoover looking under every bed for a gay person and accusing everyone that disagrees with you of being a communist, while you claim you're fighting for your speech rights, but you deny the rest of us that, or you try to, or you seek to, and you want to take us back to the 1950s. And that's what you want, rather than just let people be free and be who they are. See, even though the 60s were far from perfect, in many ways, I represent the 60s in America. You represent the 50s. And that's really the battle that's going on there. But yeah, this is I said with genital mutilation or circumcision, that Christianity is going on their way out too, and so is transphobia and whatever else I was talking about. And again, this is the same as that is going out. That is because of a grave of information, and your youth is not listening to and believing the same shit you are. And you're creating a large fucking wedge between the fucking society that doesn't need to exist. And again, Christianity is on the way out, and this kind of homophobic crap is a part of the reason why. Why don't you go back to saying what Jesus actually said about not being a dick and talk about that? And talk about what Jesus said about helping people and things like that, and you might actually have a larger growth in Christianity, because that type of shit is what people have always been attracted to and endeared by, not fucking hatred and bigotry. That is not what has always attracted people about Christianity. And it's usually fascists who want to use religion to get what they want, and then when that doesn't work, they just start killing people, and then it gets associated, I'm sure, with Jesus. That's what happens. But or Yashua or whatever the hell his name was, I don't know. And there's even people that debate whether or not he existed. Was he a sun god? People don't even know. But that's not the point. The point is, I don't think he was about hating other people. In fact, he got killed because of that. So, there's that. I don't know, whatever else I was going to say. Oh, yeah, and by the way, as I have said about people like Bill O'Reilly, who was always talking about people like Jenna Jameson and 50 Cent and calling other people perverts, and then he gets caught sexually harassing people in the middle of the night. And Jordan Peterson, who was always talking about responsibility and being a man and man up, and you are a man, why don't you just be a man? He was also talking shit to feminists because they weren't dealing with their problems. And he even supported pretty much mutilating children's genitals because we're not supposed to be too easy on the kids, pretty much. I mean, that's the way he looked at it. He pretty much hated children. And then he gets caught taking pills and gets put in rehab because he was a fucking pillhead. At the same damn time, he was talking about everyone else and judging them and telling them what to do and talking down to them. And it's the same thing on the left with Democrats like Harvey Weinstein, who was supposed to be this big feminist, and he was giving money to feminist organizations. And meanwhile, he was sexually harassing females that were trying to get acting jobs for him. And then now you have people like Alex Jones, and all he ever does is talk about transgender people. And I'm telling you, and how we went from 9/11 to that, I do not know. But I'm telling you, anytime anyone does what Alex Jones is doing, and the more he talks about transgender people, because it's gotten worse than gay people, all he does is talk about trannies now. And I'm telling you, whenever you have a guy like that, just like with Ted Haggard thumping on the floor and trying to hit on gay undercover cops and truck stops, just like that guy, I'm telling you, whenever you have, in any situation where you have a guy who is that obsessed with one group and hating them or anything else, they either turn out to be that group or they turn out to be sexually attracted to that group. And I'm telling you, Jones is, and there's, God. And I'm telling you, there's even footage of Jones, supposedly his phone went off once. And I mean, there's shit about that and footage on his phone of transgender people and everything else. But I'm leaving it there. I'm just telling you, the guy's a hypocrite, and so is the entire Republican far-right movement, and we have got to get rid of that in this fucking country. P666.